All right, good morning, everyone from the Pacific Northwest. I know that it's later in the day for many of you on the East Coast and much later in the European time zone. And for some of you, maybe even the middle of the night. So today is the March frequency forecast. And I've been waiting for this day for the last few days because I'm so excited to talk to you about what is going to be happening in March, where it's already happening. And so the name of this talk is the Galactic Superwave and DNA activations. This is going to be happening in March and March 29th for those of you who like to be really specific, but you just want to remember that in the other dimensions, there's no time or space. So it's all kind of happening at the same time. So hello from Portland and hello from the Midwest. I understand it's super cold there. Hello from Puerto Rico and Minnesota and Edmonton. Hello from Tacoma and upstate New York, Malaysia, the Canadian Rockies, Virginia, North Carolina, the UK, San Diego. Anyway, hello, everyone. So if you're new to my channel, my name's Nancy Rebecca, and I am a retired registered nurse, but I've been working as a psychic healer for about 30 years now, and I teach very kind of high-level psychic development and intuitive development. So and that's the main reason why I'm incredibly excited, because I've been waiting for this time for a long time and was not very clear on how it was going to unfold. And if I'm honest, I'm still not very clear about how it's going to unfold. But let me get started talking about March. So this is what I'm writing up. Imagine waking up one morning and suddenly knowing something you didn't know before. Not because you read it, not because someone told you, but because it is encoded within you. I call that knowing it in my bones. What if cosmic waves, powerful energy pulses from deep space, could actually activate hidden aspects of your own DNA coding that can unlock ancient wisdom buried inside of you? Well, that's exactly what's happening right now as we speak. And March 29th is that enormous, what I call that peak point or turning point in the big shift. So I know that many of you have heard that it's like, well, I don't know, I don't know how many years have been a bit rough, right? And then we heard, 2025 is going to be the big change, and 2026 is going to be the big change, and 2027 is going to be the big change. To be honest, every single moment that you are living in right now is a big change. Let's admit it. If you just watch the news, it's like things are shifting so rapidly that we can't even keep up with it. I don't even know how anybody can keep up with all the shifts that are happening in the world right now. And so, yes, we are starting to already have these cosmic, what I'm calling galactic waves, that are already starting to come in filled with light codes. I'm going to be talking more about that. But when we start heading into March and mid-March, around the 13th, there's going to be a more of these kind of gentle waves before I'm going to call this kind of the tsunami wave of light codes is going to come in around the 29th of March. So we're standing on the edge of a galactic super wave of high frequency energy influx that will directly impact human consciousness. So what is consciousness and what is being awake? Now, we hear a lot of people say, woke this and woke that and woke. Why the heck do you not want to be awake? Like, what's the problem here? So consciousness and being awake means that if I'm if you start to look around the room that you are sitting in, just look around the room. There's normal things that you normally look at. But now look at this same room that you're sitting in from a perspective of, I want to be fully awake to the consciousness that's available to me. Now start looking around the room and see if you can notice more detail. So that's what's happening at a conscious level, is that we're not just looking at one thing, that there's multiple opportunities for us to really see everything, that bigger picture of what's going on. And this is what's happening as our DNA is going to become more activated. These waves that originate from cosmic events such as solar flares, gamma ray bursts, interstellar plasma waves, and are accelerating our evolution in ways that science is only beginning to understand. So let me start first with DNA. Now, before I start that, I wanted to look up because I actually took a little screenshot here. All right, Einstein. So hopefully most of you know Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said, I cannot, and this is in the 1930s, right? So that was like 100 years ago. Einstein writes, I cannot seriously believe in quantum mechanics because this theory is incompatible with the requirement that physics should represent reality in space and time without any spooky actions happening at a distance. And then Albert Einstein said, but there is a lot of spooky action happening at a distance. And so this is how his kind of scientific term was, spooky action at a distance. So what does that mean? So that means that you have a thought, and that thought can influence other people on the other side of the world. It's called quantum entanglement. Now, if you had told me 6 months ago that I would even understand what quantum physics is in a tiny, tiny bit of a way, I just would not have believed it. But it's becoming all consuming for me. So I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my knowledge. So let's start with what is DNA actually, because you're going to be hearing a lot about this. So DNA is more than just a code. So to understand why this particular shift that's happening in the March frequency forecast is so friggin' important, we want to take a look at your DNA. So most of us learned in school that DNA is the blueprint of life. How many of you have heard that? It's the blueprint of life, the instruction manual for our bodies to function, right? But what if DNA is more than that? What if it's actually an antenna, a receiver that receives information, it interprets that information, and it sends that information back out to the universe? So we've got these galactic cosmic waves coming in. Your entire DNA has this potential to take in that information, interpret what's happening, give you the information at the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level, and then send out that message back. I heard you loud and clear. I got it. I'm on board, right? And then more information comes from the galactic. Now, scientists used to think that 98% of our DNA was junk. Now, I found this really fascinating. So I started to do a deep dive, like, what is junk DNA? Has anybody ever heard what junk DNA is? Well, I think it was like maybe in the 1970s. I might have that date wrong, but scientists used to think that 98% of our DNA was junk. And now they're just starting to discover that this so-called junk DNA is actually active. It's actually responsive to frequency, light, and even your own thoughts. So we've been talking a lot about this in the last two YouTube videos that I've made. I've talked about how you actually, wherever your frame of mind is, you have the ability to influence your family members. You have the ability to influence where your thought process is, to influence your workmates. You have the ability to influence what's happening on the other side of the world. And so remember, I used that example of all the earthquakes that are happening in Greece, in Santorini, that's still happening at a very high level. You too are being impacted at that quantum level by all the earthquakes and the fear that the people who've had to evacuate their homes, you're feeling that as well. You are impacted by that as well. So, junk DNA is because scientists just it didn't have the same protein covering. They couldn't see why it was any kind of doing any good at the physical level. So they just assumed, kind of like our appendix, where they assumed that it just had no purpose in our body. So we'll just go ahead and cut it out. And so, this is what we're finding. There's so much science data that's coming in. It's not even just like once a day. It's just we're just being. I don't even want to use the word bombarded because it's more exciting than that. It's it's like the scientific community is sharing with us at the quantum level, and it's moving beyond theory, that they're actually beginning to start to have studies that is providing information that's providing much more accuracy of understanding for us at the human level. In ancient spiritual traditions, the ancient ones knew about DNA. And so it looks like a little helix that kind of turns, and it looks like a ladder. So the Jed pillar in Egypt, the Caducus of Hermes, and the feathered serpent of Mesoamerican cultures all have carved or engraved into their stone double helix shaped DNA, symbolizing their cosmic connection to the stars. So, but what if these symbols are also pointing to hidden potential within you? And this is what's happening. This is what I believe to be a truth is happening. So let me just, oh gosh, I'm almost missing a whole page here. All right. Okay. So cosmic energy and DNA activation, the connection. As these galactic superwaves wash over the earth, they don't just affect the planet, they're affecting each and every human being on the earth. Now, I have done those kind of deep dive questions. You've heard me say, if you're standing out in the middle of the street, even if you're a really good person or you're a really bad person, if you're standing in the street and it starts raining, everybody's going to get wet. So this is the information. This is how spirit tells me all the time. It's the same with these galactic waves of light codes. And so these light codes that are coming in, and this blue plasma, again, big waves of blue plasma containing all these light codes. And within the light codes are like universal, packages of just high level information. We're all going to be impacted by that. But I said, but is everybody going to be impacted by it equally? And the information that I'm getting is, if you've been meditating for a long time, you're already kind of preconditioned to activate your own DNA. That's going to happen. And that you can more likely be very comfortable with any of these activations. And for some of you who maybe this is kind of new, you're still going to get the activations, but the uptake might be a little bit slower for you. It doesn't mean that you're not being activated. Your DNA isn't being activated. It just means that it's just going to take a little bit longer to come to a conscious awareness of that. So your DNA responds to light and frequencies. When high frequency energy from the cosmos reaches the earth, it interacts with biophotons. So I want you to write down the word biophoton. I'm kind of a little embarrassed to say I'd never heard that term before last week, But there was something that happened to me when I just was scanning something with my eyes, and biophoton, it's like, "Erp," you put on the brakes and you like walk backwards and you're like, what's that word there? And that's what I did with biophoton. So this is really exciting. So biophotons are these high frequency energies that reach the earth, interact with the biophotons in your cells. It triggers dormant aspects of your DNA. So biophotons are light. Your DNA is light. Your DNA illuminates light through these biophotons. And so then my next question was, so if our DNA is light, like these little crystalline amplified little bits of light, and in our cells, it's full of light, well, then this is what it means when we're creating a light body. The light is already there, but if it's covered with 50 wet wool blankets, you're going to have to do a lot of uncovering of your stuff, of your programming, of your beliefs, of your patterns, of your judgments, of your criticisms. You're going to have to keep peeling away at that so that you can experience the light of your own light body. And so then I was meditating and it was like, all right, so how do we bring more light or activate the biophotons of this light? So, and so, excuse me, what are these biophotons, this activated light, the light body? What is it going to do for you when your DNA is activated? Well, number one, it's going to trigger your intuition and psychic awareness. Now, back in 2007, I was guided to write a book, and it sounded so fantastical. It sounded like a sci-fi flick, and I thought, yeah, I don't think that that can happen. I don't think that's possible. Well, what the heck is wrong with my head here? Because now there's so many things that are becoming possible that we didn't think were possible before. So increased intuition, psychic awareness, sudden downloads of wisdom and insight, heightened sensitivity to subtle energies, changes in your sleep patterns. You're having more vivid dreaming. Is there anybody having vivid dreaming right now? Physical and emotional detoxing, right? Purging, big, big, big purging. And so this is what we're talking about. When the light is coming up, it illuminates the heavier, denser energy, and we purge. And that's what we call ascension symptoms. Ascension means that we're moving up in our awakening in consciousness. We're becoming more woke, in our consciousness. And whatever has been causing us to remain blind, remain asleep, remain oblivious, remain in denial, all that's going to start to be purged from our physical body. So for some of us, it might feel really great. And for others, it might not feel so great. And nobody is immune from ascension symptoms. Okay. So March 29th marks the peak in these energy waves, followed by a secondary shift. So I want to talk about this. April 3rd through the 5th. So I'll talk more about that for the April frequency forecast. But between that first week in April, we're moving into an accelerated phase of DNA activation where these new frequencies will be integrated into our body. And there's going to be this frozen time effect. So I'm going to talk about that here in just a moment. Yes, Donna. I love science and spirituality, and that it's finally working together, and that we've got these really awesome scientists that are, I was listening to a quantum physics YouTube thing, to like 3 of the top quantum young guys. Anyway, and they were saying, and this is part of it, they were saying, you can't study this. Like they have a lot of, like quantum physics has a lot of theories But along with all those theories, there's this belief system that these theories that we're not in a place right now in our evolution where these theories can be tested. So this is what one of the quantum physics guys said. And so then he said, so why not? Why can't it be tested? And this is what you're being asked to do. It's like, well, why can't I be intuitive? Why can't I be psychic? Why can't I witness things from a multidimensional level? How dare you, whoever you are, that told me that I couldn't do that, right? Like I was thinking about this like a week ago. Now I just turned 66. So some of you, if you're young, you may not remember, but I was remembering how, I'm in my 20s, definitely can't appreciate my awesome 20-year-old body. And so I'm going to diet because I just want to lose that little fat pocket. I may think back of like just how insane I was. Anyway, and so remember we would have to bake the chicken, but before we could bake the chicken, we have to peel the skin off because the skin had too much fat in it. And remember, what was that? Was it called Pam or whatever you spray? So you get the minimalist amount of fat, in the chicken. And then you have to, eat a certain amount of vegetables, but absolutely no starches, no breads, no grains, no. And you had to cut your calories down to nothing, like your whole body goes in this starvation mode. But we bought that hook, line, and sinker. Oh, and don't even get me started on margarine. Like how dare you? Who sold us that bill of goods about margarine? How many of you, raise your hand if you believed it, if you believed that margarine was the healthier choice? I'm just going to let you know I never gave up my butter, but I did kind of feel bad. I felt a little guilty that I wasn't doing the healthiest thing for my body. So now here we are. How long are you going to keep buying you can fill in the blank of whatever word you want to put in there, BS. How long are you going to keep buying that? How long are you going to keep believing everything that you're told without checking with your intuition first, right? How many of you are going to keep buying and eating whatever someone else told you was good for you without checking in with your intuition first? So Donna, I have to say, Donna Ewing, we were having this conversation yesterday, and I thought margarine didn't exist anymore. And then Yvonne informed me it still exists. And I'm like, that stuff should be taken off the market. And that's true, but who's going to do that? All right. So let me give you an example of a multidimensional experience. So one of these quantum physicists said this, and I'm like, this is such a perfect description. All right. So this is how you might be looking at the world in a one-dimensional sort of way. So the quantum physicist, there's my lipstick cup. This is the Waffle House from Arkansas. So always reminds me of Arkansas. Okay. So one way of looking at this mug is, what is it made of? So one of you is going to look at the mug. Is it made of plastic? Is it made of glass? So this is actually some type of clay. And so you're going to be kind of measuring, looking at what the mug is made of. One of you is going to look at the shape, like maybe it's got a thicker handle, maybe it's got a thicker, lip around the top. So you're going to be kind of measuring and looking at this. Somebody else is going to look at the weight. This is a really heavy mug. I love it. It's got a wide base. So some of you are going to be measuring the weight. Some of you are going to look inside the coffee and you're going to be measuring how much coffee can this mug hold. So this is when we're looking at things separately. Guess what multidimensional physics is? It's where you can look at this mug, the weight, the height, the circumference, the handle, the emblem, the coffee inside, all of this stuff at the same time. This is what's happening to you in March. It's like We're shifting from just looking at things from a one-dimensional perspective, which is highly valuable. However, you're going to start growing in the next several years. This is an activation period. It's going to keep happening over the next several years. But this is what multidimensional thinking is, or viewing, or consciousness, or awake. You're able to see several layers of things all at the same time. You're getting the bigger picture. All right, relationships. How many of you look at your relationship, the one that you love and adore with more than your heart and soul, but you still look at them from that one dimension, that one way of being, that one way of being that never picks up the socks, or that one way of being that doesn't load the dishwasher right? Like, that's that one way. But the love of your life is a multidimensional being. They have more aspects than just that one aspect. So as these DNA activations are shifting right now, and really will peak in shifting, what's happening is you're going to start seeing everyone as whole, not just one dimensional. Okay. And then what else to write? Oh, this is what one of the other things that one of the quantum physicists said. So what they said was, all right, so there's a study and everybody's going to be working on the study. And let's say that there's a team of 50 scientists that are going to work on this study. And then they said one scientist walks in and says, I know the answer to this study. They don't tell you what the answer is. They don't describe the answer. They don't tell you how they came to the conclusion of the study. But now the other 49 scientists stop even looking to study it because one person said, I already know the answer. Are you getting it? Like, how many times do you stop when someone said, that's not how it's happening? And you go, well, they sound like an authority, so I'm just going to stop bothering inquiring that you're having an affair. I intuitively know you're having an affair, and you're telling me, no, I'm not. So then how many of you just stop looking, or stop exploring, or stop following your intuition? And should I even get into politics right now? It's like, there's so much happening. We're being told how to look at things. And I'm not just talking about the news, telling us how we should look at things. There's so much happening in the world. And I'm not saying that it's not true. And I'm not saying that it isn't worth looking at. I'm just saying, go a little deeper. Don't just look at the shape and the size and the weight and how much liquid it holds. It's like, and I'm not saying you even have to push to do this, because when your DNA starts getting activated and you can more easily function from a multidimensional realm, this is why it's almost like I can't put too much weight in what's happening in the news today, because I want to look at that same news in April, looking back after these DNA activations, and I want to see, is my perspective the same or has it changed? Jim, don't talk about my affairs. Awesome. Okay. So now the frozen time effect. So I kept getting this slow type energy that's happening. This kind of, I don't know. I think I kind of assumed it was this integration time. So the first week in April, there's this frozen time effect where many ancient prophecies speak of moments in history where time seems to freeze, or I'll call it downshift, like you're in a car and you're downshifting, allowing new energies to anchor in. So March 29th, let's just say this is the peak, right? And I'm only given March 29th because that's the date March 29th was given to me. I don't know anything about astrology, but it's not about astrology. It's about a galactic wave of blue plus plasma light coming in that is packed full of light codes that are illuminated with biophotonics that are already starting to activate your own DNA. It's like someone's walked into your bedroom and you're sound asleep and they flip on the light to look for their pants, right? And you're like, oh my God, what just happened? And you got your eye and you're like, you're trying to see and the light's blinding you. That's what it's like. It's like all this light that's coming in from the galactic cosmos. And this light is coming in and we're like, what the heck is happening? And it's like your eyes open. Guess what? That's called woke. When your eyes are open, it's called being awake. And it's bathed in consciousness. And consciousness is alive. It's alive like at this quantum level. Can you tell I'm super excited? It's a new moon eclipse. Oh, thank you. Okay. So this freeze shift dramatically allows new energies to be anchored in. So think of it like this. Imagine that as a river that normally flows at a steady pace, but then there's a massive wave of energy comes in and it temporarily stops the flow of the river. It creates a moment where new information can be introduced into the river. And this is where some mystics refer to it as crystalline time lock. A crystalline time lock. So, Laura, you're talking about Laura Arzola, March 29th being the end of the 12,000 year cycle of the Kali Yuga. And then we're shifting upward into a new cycle. And I have to tell you, Laura, I think you mentioned this before, or somebody else mentioned it before. I was super excited about it, but I can't find any data on it. So if you've got any links that you can post here, I would love to go down that rabbit hole with you. Okay, so for a brief period where reality itself seems to stand still long enough for the transformation to take place. So this is where it's like, all right, we're having these quantum shifts. We're having this DNA activation. And all of a sudden it's like, hold up. I need to sit down. I need to sit down for just a minute and have a cup of coffee. This is a lot of information you've just downloaded me with. And I just need a minute. So it's kind of like that. Well, that minute's going to happen like in the first week of April to really slow things down a bit so we can integrate. And so during these moments, people may report feeling like time has slowed down. Reality feels more fluid. You may experience a sudden flash of insight. I just got a text from someone yesterday who said, oh my God, I'm seeing light codes for the first time ever, and I'm getting downloaded. I don't know what to do with all this, but I'm getting downloaded. So yeah, maybe that'll happen. Yeah, the flash of light, Jennifer. Okay, let's see here. The key is to be aware of these moments, align yourself to receive incoming energy, and don't hang on to those stuck energies. Every time I hear something else in the news, that's what I do. I go, oh, okay, breathe, ground, center. Okay, carry on. So, all right. So ancient cultures about DNA activation. So cultures around the world have left us clues about DNA activation. So we have the Egyptian pillar, a symbol of stability and spiritual awakening, about linked to the spine, Kundalini energy channels. The caduceus of Hermes is the double helix about alchemy and higher knowledge. Been talking about this. The feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl, representation of the cosmic intelligence descending to earth to awaken humanity. That's some old ancient history, and we get to live. I want you to hear this. I want you to write on your piece of paper, I get to live during this incredible time of expansion. Like, be excited. All right. So what can you do to enhance these energies? So we're getting ready to do a meditation where we're going to start clearing off some of our DNA. If there's any old energy to purge, we're going to do a meditation on that. So we are not passive in this process. You can actively align yourself with the frequencies to enhance this activation process. Here are 5 powerful ways that you can work with these upcoming shifts. Spend time in the sun. Spend as much time as you can in the sun. I live in a very gray area, but the sun's rays can still come through. Spend time in natural sunlight to absorb cosmic light codes and to interact with your own DNA. Meditation. So on my website, intuitivemind.org, you go to purchase, whatever, sales, shop. I can't remember what the name of that button is. You click on it and click on the free meditations and just start letting your energy run like that. Conscious breathing, of course, eating high vibrational foods. But I do want to say that, yeah, we want to eat a lot of healthy vegetables and we do want to cut back on the sugar and we want to but come on, let's see. The reality is life is stressful. Some of us are stress eaters. Stress eaters unite, but you can imagine grounding your food to the center of the earth and imagine golden light flowing through your plate of food before you eat it and washing off all the toxins. So you want to energize your food. Ground in nature, be in nature. Remember, nature's DNA is also getting activated. Your cats, your dogs, your fish, your turtles, all the animals in the world, everybody's getting activated. And then sound frequencies. So those are really helping. Those have a very high frequency, megahertz frequency with sound, but just listening to uplifting music, dancing around the house, listening to it on the radio, that's going to help, as well. So you are not powerless in this shift. Your DNA is not just a set of codes. It's a cosmic receiver designed to awaken you at just the right moment in time. And that time just might be right now here in March. The waves are here. The energy is accelerating. Are you ready to tune in? Yes, Jill. Thank you for that reminder. You can activate the water that you drink as well. So before we get into the meditation, because I don't want to make you overthink. So literally, what's the other thing I didn't mention for March? The spring equinox. Can you believe it's already here? The spring equinox. So for 24 years now, I have been doing group guided psychic readings and guided meditations. And so this spring equinox is no different. So I've included the link here. You can be one of the first to register for it. But I've added a VIP section, and in the VIP section, literally on March 29th, so March 22nd will be the equinox. March 29th is where I'm going to do another in-person virtual event on Zoom. We're going to work with light body activation, DNA awakening and light codes, epigenetics, the confirming what mystics have always known, that your DNA is shaped by your beliefs, emotions, and energy. So we're going to work with that. We're going to do more guided meditation, energy work, and we're going to do a breakout room where you get to scan each other's aura and pick up intuitive information to share with each other. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. So again, the link is in the box here in the YouTube video. And so literally it just went live on the website this morning. All right, everyone, you ready for, thank you. Just want to say thank you for all the information about the Kali Yuga and the time shift happening in March, because I'm going to do some more research on that. And I encourage you all to do your own research as well. So, all right, so before I just start, so Pam's saying, can you please tell us what a light code looks like? Thank you for saying that, because I did actually want to talk about that. So a light code, it's a symbol. And in the symbol, it's just And it's so tiny. I mean, it's invisible to the human eye. It's not invisible to your third eye, but it's so full of knowledge. Now, the way I used to see them was like little hard little circles, like a little BB. That's how I used to see them. But there's so much light, and it's almost like they snap, crackle, and pop like Rice Krispies as they are activating more light. As they're touching, they're activating more light. But a symbol is a light code, and a light code is a symbol. So let's say you're driving and you see a symbol of a dollar sign on the back of the bus, and then you see a symbol of somebody's license plate with a dollar sign, and then you see somebody's writing and they write dollar sign. Like, that is a symbol. The dollar sign would be the symbol, and it would be the light code that's packed full of information. So it can take on all kinds of shapes and sizes. Okay, we're going to start a meditation now, and specifically we're going to play with and heal ourselves by clearing some dense energy, congested energy around our DNA, around our genetics, we're going to help our biophotonic light that irradiates from our DNA. We're going to help polish it up. We're going to help shine it up by clearing some denser energy. And remember, this is an ongoing process. So I encourage you to repeat this meditation as often as you wish over the next couple of months, especially. Go ahead, close your eyes, turn within. Can you tap into that level of excitement that your spirit is, the frequency of your spirit is sharing with you? Because your spirit's super excited. And see and sense, is your body able to uptake that excitement and that enthusiasm, or is your body a little bit nervous about going through rapid changes? Just have a sweet little conversation with your body. Let your body know how much you care about it and how much you have your body's back. You're going to take care of it. You're going to eat well, sleep well, drink enough water, get out in nature, take time to self-reflect, and take time to have some fun. Your body loves to have fun. So does your spirit. Talk to your DNA that is very active from the moment you were born. From the moment you were conceived. Your DNA started dividing, but it duplicated. It made a replication of your original DNA so that you would never lose sight of the first original imprint. So no matter how many times it divided, you always kept your original blueprint. So go ahead and just have a little chat with your DNA. Ask your DNA to prepare to illuminate and prepare to release old congestion. Say hello to your higher self and just let your higher self know if you're excited about these shifts and changes. But just set the intention. Ask your higher self to help your body to be able to integrate any of these DNA upgrades, activations in consciousness, but also to help your physical body integrate it with ease and effortlessness with as minimal ascension symptoms as possible. Go ahead now and ground yourself to the center of the earth. For some of you, if you are brand new to my guided meditations, we always start off with imagining a grounding symbol. And so it's always the easiest to start with is an ancient oak tree or a tree that's thousands of years old that's got this deep ancient root system. And you can imagine those roots going all the way down to the center of the earth and really anchoring the roots around the magnetic core. For the rest of you, you can be playful and imaginative and invite your spirit to show you or let you feel into a symbol. And a symbol can be as different as a set of china dishes, with plates stacked all the way down to the center of the earth. I mean, your grounding can be any playful imagery that you wish. Your grounding not only helps to stabilize you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, but it also functions as a drain. So as you're dissolving any old, outdated behavior patterns, belief systems, limited, one-dimensional ways of thinking, it's going to drain right down your grounding. All right, now let's call in these waves that are coming in are like a blue plasma. The blue plasma, it's like these galactic waves that have a little bit more weight to them. So allow the weight of this kind of galactic cosmic blue plasma light is going to come down into the room where you are, and it's just going to flow through the top of your aura, and it's going to start just infusing and flowing all the way through your being. And for some of you, you may even notice, you may not be able to see it, but you'll feel this blue plasma. And then some of you may feel, sense, know the light codes. So they can look like little sparkles of light, like little glitters of light. Someone mentioned snowflakes. That's a perfect way to think of them. And just see if you can notice how many light codes are in this blue plasma flowing through you so that you can start every day. See if you can notice when the light codes start to become more frequent. So maybe there's just one or two now, but in 2 weeks, maybe there will be hundreds or thousands. So right now, just see if you can notice how many light codes are coming in. As they come in, they will activate your DNA biophotonic light, at the same time dissolving and purging those old blankets of energy. Remind your entire energy field of what today's date is. So whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay a year from now, just state today's date and your current age. And what is not in alignment with the DNA activation will dissolve and release and drain easily and effortlessly right down your grounding. What's dissolving is a little thick, but you all are doing incredible. And as I'm looking out there in YouTube world, I'm seeing more light start to illuminate, and I'm just starting to see some of this thick, old, cloudy energy is dissipating and dissolving pretty rapidly down your grounding. Intuitively, as you're being awakened and activated, what are you feeling? What are you hearing? Are you hearing any sounds? Are you seeing any images related to the light codes? What do you just know is happening for you right now? There you go. So go ahead and thank your body, thank your spirit, thank consciousness, the galactic wave, the light codes. And then whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes and let your body have a good stretch as it's integrating the new frequencies. And what does it feel like for you compared to when you first sat down before the call and how you're doing now? And so I just wanted to remind you all that there's a mighty force building within all of us. And and what has been hidden is being revealed. We've known this for years now, that this time was coming, that there would be an enormous revelation. And so there's a mighty force that's building within you. And as your DNA gets activated, you're able to see things from a bigger perspective. It's really empowering. So remember, we're stronger together than we ever have been apart. So take good care. I look forward to seeing you at the equinox, seeing you if you join me on the 29th. We're going to do some great work together. But between now and then, I'm going to be talking a lot about this activation over the next several weeks. All right, take care, everyone. Have an awesome weekend.